Hey, what's up, everybody? Okay, we've got people on YouTube. We got people, Jay in Zoom, and let's go for it. Oh, audio delay there. Okay, as promised, we're gonna go over our macro layout. Whoops. Top-down weekly market overview. See where we are in the world, where we're headed. And I'm just going to blast through this one. I got a young man home sick from school. So, and new flooring going in the house. So, good times. All right, first things first, let's start where we always like to start with S&Ps and see where breadth is and positioning. First of all, let's take a look at. Okay, so one thing we're going to start off here with SPX, S&P 500. Commitment of traders is still really low, really low. Okay, let's just put this into context here. Well, the horizontal line here. We are. Let's see. Let's put it right there. So not there. Context for the S&P 500 is the commitment of traders for the ES futures is down at levels. First off, the April low, the 2023 low, and the 2022, that was March 2023. Basically, the bear market. We are positioned long. Okay, so let me make sure we can see. Okay, so it is futures and options, long and short, and and I have just large traders. I don't have commercial hedgers and I don't have small traders in here. This is going to be like the hedge funds and the big money. At least this is how I read it. Somebody could, pop into the comments and straighten me out if you like. It's worked for me. But what I'm seeing here is positioning is still historically low. This would have been post global financial crisis in 2010, where everybody was kind of holding on to hope and it just crashed. We had the 2016 commodities and the China cooling and all that sort of stuff. We had the Q4 meltdown in 2018. And then we had some weakness going into the big run into the top into 2020. Okay. What you want to see at a market top is you want to see commitment of traders high. Okay. You want to see them rising. When you're not expecting a market top, this is one of the big reasons why I'm not really worried about anything. We're at really historical low, not historical, but like we're at really lows on long positioning of S&P futures and options. And because of that, this means that if we go to the bigger up here, that means that yes, we don't have to turn off. Look at the trend. We've gone from the October 2022 lows of 3,500, we'll call it, all the way up to 6,000. So it's not 100% move, but it's been a really straight climb. And the only thing that you can really see that is really obvious to me ever since we did put in that low was we've only had, a little bit going into the summer of 2023, which, was, what's that? Summer, that's 2022, September. Yeah. So as we were coming into the summer of 2023, you can see positioning was really high up there. We had a bit of a blow off, and then for a couple of months, it just notice the positioning just dumped as the price went from about, what was it, 4,600 down to 4,000. So like a 15% sell off over the course of a couple of months, and then right back to the bottom. Again, we had a little bit of a peak up here in March of 2024, and then into the April lows. Again, positioning in April, positioning was the lowest that it had been in since that I could see. And I don't know how accurate it is still, but since before the global financial crisis, the positioning on long S&P 500s, futures and options. And so, that low in April of 2024, a lot of people were really, really bared up. I was like, look, dude, that's not a, first of all, we didn't peak because commitment of traders is still really historically low. And it just, people were off sides. So it was a really good buying opportunity. So then we come back to our 10-day or our 10-week advancing issues on the NYSE. This doesn't give us anything. It gives me the ability to know when to come in and buy. It doesn't really, it says, first thing it says is it's mild if it's just kind of sitting where it's at right now, this oscillator. But when we get into the gray area, that's the big buying opportunity. So you can see a really good opportunity happened during the February, March, April timeframe. You can see it comes down into February, March. This thing just kept running, and then finally it comes back down. So this was a great opportunity for dips to be bought. I'm not saying to go and buy dips because the commitment of traders is low. The only thing and it doesn't give me any insights to buy dips here. I like to all the commitment of traders is going to say is that the long positioning is offsides. They're not positioned as long as they want to be. And so there's probably going to have to be a bit of a chasing to catch up to long positioning. And especially as we come into the end of the year, that might actually be something to keep an eye out for. It's just I don't really have a major opinion on that at the moment. But if positioning is this low and we're, at all-time highs, I'm guessing that, there's big traders are offsides. They're not on the long side of this trade. I think with the election, that became an obvious point to start paying attention to, but who knows if anybody did anything. Okay. Taking a look at the dollar, first of all, I still believe this is where the dollar turns. If it happens today, tomorrow, in a month or two, I still think this general area where we're at, I think it turns and then we start heading down. This is like a key concept I want to share because let me grab my laptop here. I just had future algo short Russell. Okay, great. So there's a key concept I want to share. This is a mean reverting environment. This is the dollar all the way back to the lows of the equity lows, the bear market lows of 2022. You can see that the dollar has basically just reversed and then is bang around in this area. If we go even further back, so let's go to like a 1 month chart of the dollar. So this goes back all the way back to the let's call it 1970s. If I was to look at where the most amount of price overlapped, I'm going to say, where is it here? This one. It looks like this area right here is about it, right? We did have the crazy 1982 to 85 run up, 87 crash. But outside of this piece right here, really we could look from 2000 on. It seems that this area right in here, so 100 probably makes sense. The 100 level on the Dixie is pretty much the median. Okay, so in 2000 it went from 120 down to 70, from 70 all the way up to 115. So from the global financial crisis lows to the lows of the bear market in 2022, it basically went from 72 to 116. So let's figure out what's the middle of 72 and 116. Probably like right into this area right in here is the median, but it appears that it spends most of its time up there. So I'm more expecting a 100 price area. Maybe it'll undershoot again, but I'm expecting that to actually happen. Given who Treasury Secretary has been nominated, given that we're expecting tariffs, and if you've got a pro U.S. pro U.S. manufacturing, pro U.S. Everything regime, you're going to want a weaker dollar because that just makes your goods cheaper on the world stage and for the global market. So my base case still is that we get back into the 100 area on the dollar. And what we did just on Friday, it looks like there was a again, this is another key concept I want to share. You see this range and you see these overshoots. Overshoots are critical for reversals of ranges. I love them. In fact, that's how I build my strategies, mean reversion strategies. I build them on overshoots because everybody wants to put this like magic line at that tick and say, this is where it's at. If you can overshoot it and then reverse it, everybody's off the bus because everybody's going to be saying, okay, that 107.5 level has to hold, or 107 has to hold, or whatever somebody would have said, whatever big money would have been. And if it doesn't hold, we have to reposition everything. And so it didn't hold. And so everybody suddenly freaks out and has to reposition everything. And then what do we get the exact next day? We get the reversal down that we were saying had to hold. So this magic level isn't really magic. It's just an idea. So again, when we talk about mean reversion, which currencies are very mean reverting assets. The trend is the anomaly. When you trend, that becomes a bit of an issue. So a big trend is like really changes everything in markets when you're dealing with currencies. Okay. So that should do that. And on that case, that should be there should be a long signal forming on the euro to get back from 104 to maybe 110, 115 area. Probably more like a 110, 112 is the trade I'm looking for on euro. If that weakness kicks off, the yen is going to get some strength and maybe come back into safety. I think, the 70 area is probably where the world feels safest with the yen. And I think that's probably the focus. Okay, let's take a look at S&Ps, still stronger than NASDAQ. All-time high. We already did our look at S&Ps, but it still remains stronger than NASDAQ. If we do, let's just compare from the 18th low in returns. So we'll turn this to the 18th low. It's the same, right? Oh, it's not. There it is. Okay. So since the 18th, so a week ago, S&P's up 1.9, so almost 2%, while NASDAQ's only up 1.5%. That's been the trend for the second half of the entire year. I don't really have anything to say about bonds. I'm probably gonna get rid of following the bonds. I don't actually trade the bonds all that much myself. Let's take a look at gold. Big down day here on gold, down 3%. We are in indicators. Okay, so let's do SQN. Here we go. Yeah, so we did have a top signal fire on gold. And then we had so we go from 28 down to 25. So 300, a little over 10, 12%. So that correction is fine. That resets the clock on gold. So I don't have any market top signals. I don't have, the trend is definitely in place. So one thing I will say is there's going to be a bunch of people who are going to be doing, who are going to be looking at this. And I'm guessing that that's going to be the signal that a lot of people are going to be talking about. We got Peter Brandt probably going to be talking about it. We have a head and shoulder pattern. Now, I am not a head and shoulder pattern trader. I'm not I'm not going to claim that I would be, but there's people who are going to be trading that as a head and shoulder pattern. There's positioning that's going to be set up to deal with that as the pattern. So all that means is, and this is how I do all of my stuff, is I'm trading the trader. I'm not trading the pattern as much as I'm trading the reaction to the pattern. If we have traders who are focused on, the head and shoulders pattern, they're going to expect, I guess, I don't know I don't know how to draw a head and shoulder pattern, so I don't really know, but I don't know where so that's the left shoulder head, it broke it there. I don't know, man. I'm no good at this. Somebody's going to have said that's a head and shoulders. So actually, let me come back to that idea. So if it happens to break above over here, it's probably going to have a lot of people positioned short that are going to have to get, especially after today, that are going to have to get. They would have entered today because this thing went below the Friday high, this most bullish looking market in the world high, and it went short there. So stops would have been right here on the long side. Short entries probably would have been right there. So we have a little follow through. What you want to see here is if this continues, then great. But if it doesn't and it reverses up, we're going to have a lot of stops that are going to get ran, and that could be power, jet fuel to send gold even higher. I don't have a personal opinion on that trade, but that's what's going on. Let's take a look at Bitcoin right now. This is let's get our volume. File. Let's do periodic, and let's go 12. That's 1 month. Let's go 12-month, and we need this to be let's do like 100 rows. Okay. So what we needed was that level, this 95.3 area on Bitcoin to get traded through, and the volume to work through that. This is the first level that we need to really pay attention to. There's going to be a couple of other levels but this is the main, if this holds and all we do is just work through that area, that's very bullish. But we also have, some areas below from 87 to 77 area on Bitcoin that could be, if it does start to come back, this is where we're going to want to see it chew through some volume. Okay. It's just that there was very light volume that traded there. This is on the Coinbase contract, or the Coinbase spot, by the way. So if we look at like CME futures, or we look at Binance or Bybit perps or things like that, they're going to have it. We actually do have it. Oh, this is a different one. I had, I had this. Anyway, I put all of those, combined them on that earlier, and that gave us a good idea of where the volume is. So right now, this is the area where we should be working through volume. As far as I'm concerned, this is the spot. So if strength continues, we could chew through this and then take off again. Or if weakness ensues, this is where we go. I don't really have an opinion on the shorter term of Bitcoin. I am long. I am I am positioned long in both the crypto momentum system and just my own positioning of Bitcoin. It is my largest position in crypto right now. But that's that. All right. If you guys have anything you want me to look at as I work through the system, let me know. This is our this is the NVIDIA algorithm, auto trading algorithm, and it got short NVIDIA at 139. So far, so good. Let's take a look at the results. Has about a 54% win rate, but you can see just it's a long short strategy, and it just day trades the NVIDIA for you. It's very nice. If anybody's, I haven't released it to anybody. It's personal at the moment, as I'm testing it, but this is something that I might release if there's an interest in it. If not, no worries. So current positioning for me in options, I just got long GameStop and Shopify today. I picked up some calls in, well, let's first start with Shopify. I picked up, this is a swing beast. Trading options with swing beast is a bit of a challenge. Sometimes this is a little bit more of a me having to adjust it accordingly, but we do have a setup here. The reason it's entered is it's actually a longer term position on swing beast, because of historical positioning for this time of year. Of course, you have your entry, and then you go into the Q4. So what I was looking at, this was a little bit more of a discretionary trade, but we are heading into Black Friday, we're heading into Cyber Monday, and we're heading into the fourth quarter, Christmas shopping and everything for Shopify. I looked at it. The option pricing was under the volatility. The IV on it was low in the range that I was looking for. I have a signal inbound if it goes, so I took a earlier position than I would. Normally, I'd be entering on the break, which likely we're going to get a lower opening here, and then so maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. But as we get closer to the day of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and everything like that, the IV, the implied volatility on Shopify will likely increase. So I wanted to take advantage of that. So they were about $5 for the 10 laptop. I bought the 110 calls for I think it was 584, and they're currently trading at about 7. So yeah, that was 50 deltas for $5 with a low IV. I was like, let's take it. So we'll see. Not a huge position, of course. This is all position sized. I also got GameStop. Reason on GameStop is it did have a swing beast trade, and that had already played out. You can see the entry here at 22, currently got up to 29. Reason I'm interested in that is honestly, it was a re-entry, a late entry on this, but it's because we are at the this resistance here. So and one of our traders in the Slack is in it, and so I just wanted to go for that one. Now, understand the positioning. Before we go any further on any of this, I want to say when I do any of these types of trades that are discretionary with this logic I'm trying to ninja through or something like that, let's say you have a $10,000 account, we're looking at like $100 per trade. So 1%, yeah, like a 1%, is that 1%? $10,000, 10% is $1,000. Yeah, $100. So a 1% risk on a call option. So the premium is my stop. And if you get the move, they go pretty well. So Upstart is another one that I got into. I got into this one last week over Thursday, was it? I think it was Thursday, somewhere in here, or somewhere here last week. I forget what day it was. Actually, no, it must have been earlier like that. Might have been like Tuesday or Wednesday. I called it out in the lab. It's up a little bit. It's doing okay. I went deep out of the money on this. This is mostly a well, it is the Swing Beast, of course. But it is a I'm sorry, this is the momentum system. This one was based on the crypto momentum system trade. And these tend to, when they start trending, they tend to last a lot longer. So after the earnings, then we started to get the drift. So that it used an update to the Swing Beast, which I have not released yet, which is the PEAD strategy. So post earnings announcement drift. And so it had a positive earnings release, comes back in, and then you buy it after volatility has calmed down and the IV on the actual option is lighter, and then you catch the drift. So what you're looking for is big momentum play. Everybody's done. Then the market makers and participants, I should say, everybody's positioned big on an earning. It's a big volatility event, right? So the earnings announcement happens, and then if you're trading the stock, it doesn't really matter as much. You're going to get a pullback, but if you're trading options, you're going to want for the IV, implied volatility, to come back down so that you can get better pricing on the calls. And then this one goes out. I think this is 125 calls. So, it's gone from, in 3 months, from 25 to 80. So that's you're really looking for something good. But they did have a good earnings announcement, reaction to the earnings announcement. I don't even know. I don't, much like the guy who, Minervini or whatever, who was on TV, said he liked the company or whatever. I have no idea what they do still. But they are, they did, the reaction to earnings was very good. As you can see, it released at about 53 and it shot up to 80 something, comes back down. And then this is where, as long as the momentum system is in, so had I got into the trade over here in October before earnings, that would have been a fine way to do it, but it didn't come across my radar. Since the earnings came out, now I was able to stack the updated, so the stock version of the crypto momentum system is something that's actually coming out. Like I will be updating that. And that has to do with the post earnings announcement drift higher. As long as you are in the momentum zone on the momentum system, works great. Finally, I have 2x long Apple. I am looking for an all-time high takeout before January. And if we get it, we get it. If we don't, at this level I'm in the money. So I think it was a purchase over here. I think somewhere in here. Yeah. So at this level, if we, even don't get our all-time high, I should, retire those calls with, what's the term? In the money. So it's mostly a break-even stop at this point in time. And I closed out of Tesla. So where's Tesla? This back. We'll take a look at NASDAQ here. But before I do, let me pull up the Tesla chart. I'll just throw it on here. Okay, the Tesla trade, I entered, my first long was, we're doing the wrong one, aren't we? There we go. My first long on this one was long here on Tesla after the earnings announcement. Now, going into the earnings announcement in the lab, For those of you who are members in the lab and took this trade, if you're one of the 2 or 3 people that reached out to me in the lab, in DMs, and told me how much money you made on that trade, you guys are incredible. Going into, let me just break this trade down. Actually, I'll turn off all algo influence and show you how we did this. Okay, so in the lab, I told everybody as we were heading into earnings announcement, I said, hey, everything has changed with Tesla. This summer, when that rally happened, we crushed this one, by the way. Swing Beast crushed this one. We relaxed. When that trend line down was taken out, that is a change in character. That's the first indication that we have a change in character. Okay, that trend line down. So people are now looking to accumulate more than they are to liquidate. Then we had a higher high. Okay, so first time we've had a higher high since 2021. So that is a change in character. And then we also have been having higher lows, right? Everywhere around, we had these higher lows. And then we had that, whatever. I'm not going to call that a pennant. I'm not going to claim any of that. But what happened is that basically gave us indication that everything has changed with Tesla. All the yes, you could still trade it, but now it had moved into the trend zone. It started moving into an upward trend, and we started rotating into the boldness. The Swing Beast started to pick it up over here. Okay, so it didn't take any of this really. Might have done this one. I don't remember. I don't know if I took it, but it took this one. It got this one in July, and then we head into earnings. Okay, now with all these things, yeah, we had a lower low here on the earnings announcement, but we can't count that. Going into earnings, this is what it looked like. Okay, we had straight up trending down. We broke out of that and then came back in, and we put in a higher low. Okay, so knowing all that, and this was ridiculous to the guys who did this, I told everybody in the lab, I said, look, we're going to have an excellent trade on Tesla, but right now, everything is saying that this earnings announcement is going to crush. So if you own and you want to own Tesla, you should expect positive results. I am waiting for my Swing Beast signal to add or to put my position on Tesla. I told everybody, I was like, look, this is gambling. If you're going in on your own right now, it's you're just gambling on this trade, and whatever, good for you. You can do that if you like. But I didn't take the trade. And a couple of people in the lab did. And I know of, I believe it's 2 or 3 people that actually made over $1 million on this trade in 1 day, 2 days, 1 or 2 days. They bought this as I started talking about it. They started buying it. They might have actually bought it ahead of the premium really getting juiced. But the logic behind it was, look, we are in this. I guess I should share the YouTube to the internet now that I was like, why is everybody quiet? There we go. There's that and that. Okay, let's see if we can get some show ups. Okay, and so over here they got in at like 220, 217, 220 or whatever else. This thing rockets up to 270. They sell, from what I remember, they sold. We bought, I think right here. Well, let's turn it on. I should say. I don't want to take credit for other people. I bought at 266. They drop down, and then we get, as we head into the day of the election, I decided to add one contract. No, I forget how big a size I had. I doubled my position. And then we caught that. And then so the Monday here, I sold half at the close of business that day, 358. I actually sold half of the trade. And this thing goes all the way down here. I'm like, crap, good thing I sold, but I should have sold it all. And then I closed out of the position here on Friday for the exact price that I sold here. So I should have actually just sold it all, but whatever. But that trade is still on, both with the Swing Beast system and with the crypto momentum system. The crypto momentum system had the buy here, and we head into the earnings. Now we are in momentum mode on Tesla. So this should continue to move. The way I'm going to play it is I'm probably going to buy a breakout up here if we get it and continue to go with it. If we don't get the breakout, then great. No big deal. Okay, let's take a look at NASDAQ today. This is a 4-hour chart of NASDAQ. You notice we are back to the volume profile. So post-election, we come up here and we base up here, right? We build this volume level, right? This 21,200 or so is the high volume node. But what happened to get there? We broke out of new all-time highs and it just ran. And so that it left volume, a vacancy in volume. This is how I trade gaps. Gaps are, a lot of people look at price gaps where, there was the price closed here and opened here or whatever. Actually, let's turn on regular trading hour. You can see what, so there's a bunch of gaps when you look at it this way, right? You're like, oh, look at all those gaps. This gap and this and price gaps or whatever. I do not, and I run the 24-hour. It had a gap here. It came down, closed it, and took off. Whatever. If you do gaps that way, that's all you, and I love you. There's no problem with it. I go for the volume gap. Okay. The volume is going to be, if it breaks, you're gonna move. And so the first thing it did is it moved down to the high volume node of this period that I had been, the market, all my a bunch of my algorithms, a bunch of systems, everything stopped working on September 19th, and the NASDAQ went sideways. Except for this little thing up here, it's mostly been doing the same thing the entire time. So I don't know what happened September 19th of 2024, but it has affected some of my strategies. And I have been long shorting the NASDAQ for the last 2 months and just absolutely crushing it. So the move off the bottom here, I knew we're going to head up into this price gap. Now, what was the support that broke now is resistance, right? So this area is now going to be considered resistance until it can get back up into this area. But for what I expect is we're going to start seeing this volume chewed out, okay? So best case, we get something like that, where it just kind of maybe even a little bit deeper down into there, and we could just chew this stuff up where it's low volume, and we can short from the highs and buy from the dips and just, play the mean reversion game on that. So far, it looks like this support that broke is now resistance for upside, as you can see today. But we'll see. I'm not trading on NASDAQ today. Let's go into this regular trading hours. I don't have a trade on, and I didn't get the short on NASDAQ on the open, so I'm not trading any curvy longs. Today is going to be a no NASDAQ day for me. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I've done Bitcoin. Again, if you guys have any, Centex Sediment is saying crypto is really euphoric and that 100,000 might be it. I saw that one, Naveed. We can take a look at Solana for sure. Let me go back to here and let's turn SOL USD. Naveed, if you're still here, I'm covering it. If you missed it, because I took too long. Sorry. Um, so this is Solana on Coinbase. Maybe I should do, I don't know where it launched first. Binance. Okay, Binance is fine too. It looks like Coinbase is going to give us what we need. I think. Yeah. Coinbase is fine. So first things first on crypto. Awesome. Naveed. First things first on crypto. Technical analysis is king. Okay. If you start playing in places like the S&P 500 and options and currencies and all these other things, yeah, technical analysis is great, but in crypto, especially on higher volume products like Solana and whatever, like meme coins, not really. Technical analysis doesn't really work there, but on Solana, especially, it works. Technical analysis works exceptionally well, and you should definitely consider using it as a way to help you trade. So let me take these. I'll show you what I mean. Here's a good example. Last the 2024, late 2023, early 2024, when we went from like $20 to 125 on Solana, all I did, was did the Fibonacci level. And you could do it from here, you could do it wherever you want, but generally it nailed it. Well, actually, let's just go straight to the lows. Okay. What you can do is, it is subjective. So you have to deal with what people are doing, right? You have to deal with what everybody's talking about for it to be, relevant or not. But for me, if you went to the absolute low, to the absolute high, the bear market low, December 2022, to the absolute high, Christmas Day of 2023, it pulled back 38.2% Fibonacci level. Okay. So what that meant to me was this is going to be stronger because the other ones, for example, AVAX, let's do the same area. Yeah. Let's do the same area, same fib levels. So here to here, AVAX goes down to 50%. Let's do, what is another one that has, let's do Ethereum. And Ethereum, so this would have been that same time period. I think, I actually measured it from here just to be safe, but Ethereum goes down to 50%. And then cuts it. So let me get to Solana and kind of like get the answer to all our questions, or at least Naveed's question here. So what that tells me is that worked quite well. Okay, let's move this up here. Where does it go down to? 50% retracement. Okay, but mostly 38.2. All I want you to, and I want to bring this back to what I said earlier, overshoots are all part of the game. Do not get exact when you're doing analysis, okay? Don't get exact that it has to hit exactly the level or the level, because if it doesn't hit that level and you're holding out for like 109.25, for example, let's say you just perfectly put this one there, and actually let's absolutely perfectly put this. Let's do this absolutely lowest. Whoops. Lowest is 903. 8. Okay, 8 was the low. And the absolute high would have been 209.90. Okay, so if you want to get exact, that means 108.95 was the 50% retracement. So this one goes all the way down. So if you wanted to play the precise game, this goes all the way down to 110, not 108.95, and then turns and gave you all the opportunities in the world to get in. the other thing is if you just said, okay, anywhere from like, below 132, I'm a buyer, or at 132, I'm a buyer, or even 135, I'm a buyer. Yeah, you might have left 10 or 20 bucks on the table, but this thing goes all the way up to 266. If you have a limit order to buy at 108.95, maybe you're even saying 108.96, and you're hoping to catch this move, you sit and watch it take off without you, right? So all this is just general guidelines of what you think it should do. Okay. Now, let me just reverse this so we can get our projections. What was it? I forgot what that was. 8. 209.90. Doesn't really matter. It's a ballpark, right? Okay. So the first thing it's done is it has rallied up to 1.272 Fibonacci extension. Okay. Now, if you don't have a system, Naveed, I would say so Naveed's saying he's up 70% on a 2x leverage on Sol. Definitely don't get yourself liquidated. It looks like you're doing all the proper things. Like if you're up 70% on 2x, just make sure that, we know. So volatility is rising. Let's see what we're doing here. Okay. So I'm going to add my SQN. And why? Okay. Now let's take this out. Oh, whoops. Let's change it to different setting. So I'm going to run it at 252. I'm sorry, not 252, 365. Okay, let's go to 200. Okay. Okay. At 200. So this is okay. I expect this not to be a place to, I don't believe it's going to be done here. I definitely do not believe it's done here. Volatility has risen outside normal. So the last 200 days of trading, when did September, March? Okay. So how many days from in May, June, July, August, September, October? 8 times. Okay, so let's do like 240. Let's call it a 240 day. So this is going to measure the volatility. Okay, the volatility is measured in the price change percent. It's like yesterday and today's price change. So I'm going with a 240 on that because that's 8 months, and that would have been about the peak of when Solana went into consolidation mode. So you see it peaks in the blue, meaning the volatility goes from virtually nothing over here. That's what this is measuring, by the way. The SQN is measuring virtually nothing in volatility to a peak in March. Okay. Now, this wore that out all the way back down to regular, normal, low volatility range. Okay. So what is the average daily range? Let me grab that indicator. Here we go. Average daily range of, it is 150% today of its average daily range. Okay, boom. So it's outside its daily range. It looks like it's trending. I don't really think that I would be a seller. The reason this thing stops right here, this is such a good, this is so good to see. The reason it stops right here is this 127 Fibonacci extension, right? So if you are especially if you're trading perps or leverage or prop or any of that sort of stuff where, you know, you get you get hammered for sitting in a position too long. Obviously, you know, somebody bought the 38 point. So this low to this high, they bought in here and then they sell. You either sell at the all-time highs. That's why you can see. So not all-time highs, but swing highs. At swing highs, it congested, right? Then it broke and it shot up to a big round number of 250 and then 250 chilled, but the fib level was 264. Now, and this is an all-time high on Solana. Okay. In my trading opinion, I don't think we're done in Solana. I think we're going to get, it doesn't mean that we can't pull back in, because now you want it. What I want to do here is, you know, I'm going to move this one up to here. So this one's going to stay. So keep that. I'll add a new one. And I'll do it from the lows to this high. Whoops. Let's reverse that. Okay. So the next one would be 307. Right? So this 127 extension that this one did was 265 from the August 2024, the consolidation lows. I'm sorry, no, from the bear market lows to the bull market highs. That was the 127 extension. This from the consolidation lows, the August 4th market crash, August 5th market crash to last week's highs, puts it at 307 for the next target. Right. This one, the next target is 336 for the bigger one. And then, you know, what you can do here is also do this. And this gives us our full, so 306, 307 now becomes, these levels start overlapping. And then for me, what I'm thinking, what I'm looking at is, I did the analogs. I focus on analogs quite a bit for crypto. And I focus on, what's the term? On technical analysis on crypto. And in this case, looks like we're going a little bit longer than normal. No worries, everybody. If you're still here, I'll keep going. But it, the analog, the Ethereum analog from 2017 and 2021 has Solana at about 800, like 850 or something like that. So for me, that's ultimately where I'm eyeballing Solana to be. I didn't mean to do that. I'm pretty much expecting 3 to 4x on Solana here. And I'm already open to that just being the worst case scenario. So in my mind, what happened, let me get into a broader crypto discussion here if you guys want to do that. I've been in crypto since 2013. I really got into it in 2016. So I've done a lot of these different cycles, and also I've been in the market since 1999. So in my opinion, everything performs the same in a momentum environment, momentum market, whether you're looking at gold, Bitcoin, crypto generally, tech stocks, meme coins to a lesser extent. Bigger meme coins, yes. The pump.fun stuff is not so much. If we're looking at stocks.com, technology stocks in the 90s, 2000s, if we're looking at just generally US economy in the 80s and commodities in the 70s. The thing about crypto is I say this all the time, and I want everybody whoever Paul Tudor Jones is one of the most important and most famous investors in the market right now. He's been around since the 1970s. He made his name in the 1970s trading commodities. Guess who in the 1970s? Guess what commodities and futures were considered? They were futures, I should say, not commodities, not just commodities, but futures. They were the cryptos of now. Those are the new kids, and the old money was just like, oh, come on, kid, what are you doing? And go do bonds and like private equity or something. And these guys were getting limit lock limit or whatever we call them these days, circuit breakers on lumber for weeks and months. The government stepped in and made it illegal to like buy so much lumber. I mean, it was a crazy thing in the 70s. And so that, Paul Tudor Jones and George Soros and Druckenmiller and Peter Brandt, that was the crypto of the day. And now they are the biggest names on Wall Street. So if you're worried about, people thinking that you're just a degen kid doing crypto, you don't have to worry what anybody says, by the way. Who gives a shit, right? But more importantly, this is the winners now of crypto are going to be the Paul Tudor Jones in 30 years, 40. Gosh, that was 50 years ago. 40 and 50 years from now, if you're a 20-year-old or whatever, being in this game right now and just crushing this stuff the way they are is going to give you, like, you're going to make a name for yourself in a big way. And you're going to be able to make money for yourself. Most importantly, I guess the name doesn't really matter as much as being able to, get the money to do the things with. So crypto is, in my opinion, that's 90% of my focus. I mostly run algos on any of my day trading stuff. Swing trading stuff, option stuff is algorithmically generated. Crypto is entirely algorithmic for me. And you saw a little bit of my discretionary, which we talked about. So yeah, no, 500 next year is done. I think, it's one thing that happened in 2020 and 2022 bull market, was that the government, U.S. government, stepped in and got really aggressive against crypto, and that punished a lot of the crypto market, and that has been removed. And when you're sitting here thinking about where this stuff moves to, we're always looking at the previous cycle or previous cycles. Like, we look at my analog here and we you look at the actually, let's run it. But you look at the analog of the last two cycles with our current cycle. And you can see that, 2020, 2021 did not perform the way the previous one did and this is Bitcoin. But the current one is very much doing it. We now have, billions of dollars of Bitcoin being bought by, one of the more valuable, a company that's about to be listed on the NASDAQ. We have governments around the world adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet. We got the U.S. government not selling their Bitcoin, and a bill to, being proposed to purchase 1 million Bitcoin. We have a regime in the United States that is pro-crypto, that is not anti-tech, future, that is not anti-establishment. They're actually looking at growth. Look at SpaceX, right? The government was behind NASA, and they couldn't really do anything because you didn't get funding if your government projects were not working. So NASA never was able to really push it. SpaceX comes in, and they're a public or a private company, and they don't have to they don't have government to report to for their spending. So they were blowing up a bunch of rockets. They were doing a bunch of experimenting, a bunch of learning, right? And they weren't. That's an example of like, wow, look what happened when the private sector, the government gets out of its own way, and the private sector goes to work. That's an excellent analogy of what should be happening everywhere. The mRNA virus and all that sort of stuff is another example of government getting in the way and trying to help. As the old Ronald Reagan quote goes, I'm from the government, I'm here to help. What's the scariest phrase in the English language? That was his quote, I think. Pretty funny. Crypto is going to be absolutely part of it. One thing I want to say is Michael Saylor was out talking about other digital assets. That's not something that he's done before. Natalie Brunell's podcast, he talked about digital assets to include, the stable coins. But he also talked about, things like Ethereum, Solana, as being open to those technologies, right? That's something that Saylor has not done ever. There's no better, whatever it was. Like, there's no, whatever his main quote was, like, there's nothing better. And now he's talking about those other things. I'm as big a Bitcoin maxi as anybody, maybe not, but I'm pretty big up there. But also I'm a technologist, and just the technology, the store of value and the ability to be sound money Bitcoin has, but it isn't there to be a network of smart contracts or of other things. It's not there to play. You're not to use the blockchain to play video games on, the Bitcoin blockchain to play video games on. Now they could fork it, they could run it, they could do BIPs, Bitcoin improvement proposals that get accepted and make it those. They can do all those sort of things. But Bitcoin's real value, and the reason it's the largest crypto asset, and probably going to be one of the largest assets in the world if this happens, is because it does that one thing so very well, which is allow you to have the ability to buy. I think it's average medium high price of a home in 2020 was like 200,000. Currently it's like 465,000. The average cost of a home in Bitcoin in 2020 was 20 Bitcoin. Right now it's 4 Bitcoin, 4.5 Bitcoin or something like that. So the buying power of Bitcoin has just improved, or the inflation has just destroyed the buying power of other assets. And so that's things why Bitcoin is such a good thing. It's not Solana. It's not, I'm wearing an AVAX hoodie right now. There's so many things. I think Uniswap's going to be a really good thing now that DeFi can actually be DeFi. There was a reason DeFi got destroyed, because the government was mostly going after them. So what we should see, if we're looking at the analog here, by the way, we're expecting probably, as I've always said, this 100,000 level is most likely going to be, it's going to be sticky for a little while. And even if we overshot it, I did put out my, my thesis here. I don't know where it's at anymore, but the idea was that, everybody's expecting it to, hit 100,000, maybe overshoot, and then come back down into the price levels, and then consolidate a little bit, and then kick off later, maybe. I also have a bull case that it just blasts through 100, wipes out all the stops that are there, and just continues to go, and then it's a chase. I think it's probably going to be a lot longer. I think this bull market, in not just crypto, but in generally in the US, I think it's going to last a lot longer. I think we have to worry in 2026 maybe for things to cool off a little bit, and that would be a bullish sign generally for assets. I would say that cooling off in 2026 after we have such a nice big run is probably going to be a thing. Let's go back and take a look at how we've performed since the election. Here's the election. So alts have outperformed Bitcoin since the election. Let's take a look at assets since the election. Since the election, Coinbase, altcoins, Tesla, Bitcoin, GameStop. I don't know where NVIDIA is on this. Did I take NVIDIA off? I mean, emerging markets. I should have a SMH on there twice. I don't. Do I have anything doubled up here? Anything else you guys want to look at? I'm going to have to just add NVIDIA then. It's in there twice now. And it has not, for some reason, NVIDIA did not perform. That's of course why it's not showing up there. If I go further back, it'll show up twice now, I'm sure. There it is twice. Okay, so let's just. Okay, change the name to SMCI, right? Super microcomputer. Yeah. Let's add that to it. Okay. But having a look at, again, from the election, Coinbase, SMCI. Okay, SMCI coming back into the thing. Look at that volatility on that thing. Jeez. Bitcoin, Tesla, all those. I do have NVIDIA on here more than once too, don't I? Okay. So those are things we're looking at. If we're looking at crypto since the election specifically, let's see what sectors have been performing since the election. IoT, memes, obviously. The rotation from memes into DeFi, into real world assets, into IoT is real. DeFi definitely has been, gaming and DeFi have been big winners. AI has done pretty good. Memes have just gone straight down for the past week. I believe that meme coins is going to be out of the running for the next little while. They won't totally die, but they're going to cool off. And so I would be a little more let's go. Where did the sell-off really start? That was on Friday. Right here. Right here. Okay. So about right there was Friday. What I have on my list over here on the side, I have a bunch of tokens, coins, whatever. Floki, Doge, Bonk are at the bottom of the list. SHIB, Brett Peanuts in the middle. They're down a couple of percent. What's up is Grass. What's up is Say, Uniswap, Illuvium, Arbitrum, Near, Track, Link, Optimism, Ethereum. So a lot of the Ethereum ecosystem is up since Friday. Friday was a big altcoin. Everything that was good in 2021 pretty much just started to send on Friday higher. And then, of course, it just caused chaos everywhere because first things first is a bunch of people who had anything left over from the 2021 cycle was probably taking some profits on any sort of strength that they had because they felt like when everything rallied in October 2023, when it all started, then everything started going. they were like, oh, we're so back and we're on. And then it, you know, a week or two ago, AVAX was below its listing low. Um, and so, yeah, a lot of those things. So let's take a look at AVAX. If we take a look at AVAX, yeah, so it listed on Coinbase over here at like $65. It got down to what, $9? Then it rallies October 2023 back up to the listing price almost, and then just instantly sells. So you have like, there was a lot of dump right here. This was obviously VC dump type stuff, right? As soon as you got back to the exact same levels, it dumps. So, we're going to have to worry and, watch the AVAX levels, AVAX at those levels, right? But since pretty much the election, it has doubled 100% move in that period of time, went from 20 to 40 or so. All of these types of names from the 2021 area, especially the DeFi side of things, are definitely going to get a bounce because of the the regulation and the government, the current government regime that's coming in is going to be a lot more. Well, Gary Gensler quit. So that should tell us all we need to know. Okay, guys, that's it. If you want to join us, pollinatetraining.com. You can come into the lab with us. We trade. We're in there all day, every day, Monday through Friday. We traded the heck out of the altcoins on Friday night. This weekend we were really busy in trading alts. I think it's while Bitcoin right now is getting Bitcoin is chewing through this this price level. Just keep in mind, we've got anything down to 93 is going to be this first price level. Then you got down to 90 to hold. And then if we break 90, it could very well get into the 70s on Bitcoin. So just keep that in mind as we head into, as Bitcoin is weak. We got gold's weak today. A lot of weak. NASDAQ's going weak. Something happened. Obviously, some news just happened in the world. So, good stuff. Try to look at my news feed. Nothing. Okay, everybody.